116th Hotline.
It's Sadie.
It's Valerie.
And this is Sutana. And welcome back to 116th Hotline. We are a
Trio
of
sisters.
And we like to talk about anything and everything. If this is not your first time here, hello. And if this isn't your first time, welcome back.
Welcome
back. Okay.
Yes. How's everybody been? Let's do a quick speed round check-in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ready? 5,
6, 7, 8, go.
I think I've been great. So far. Like it's been honestly kind of like up and down, but as of right now, I'm feeling good.
Ooh.
It's a good, not great, but good.
Ooh,
Yes.
love that. Val.
For me personally, I have been doing really good. I've been going to the gym and working out, and that's really good for my body. I feel good, I look good, and I do good. And also on top of that, I've been trying to clear my mental health, trying to be happy. And the weather has not been on my side because it's been hot and cold.
Oh, I know.
And I did lose my voice because I was screaming last night because I don't know why every time I have alcohol in my system, I feel the need to scream. Tana?
Wow.
Thank you.
Okay, all right. It's Tana's turn. Ready,
5, 6,
set,
7, 8, go. I've been actually I've been okay. I've been surviving, and I've been having ups and downs, but overall we're alive and we're surviving.
Woo!
Yes. Okay, 116 Hotline.
Love it. Putting on the spot and being able to execute.
So I hope that if you're listening, you make sure to do a mental check-in, not with only yourself, but also the close ones around you, because it is so important. No matter how little you think that you don't need it, in the end, you actually, it makes you feel better once you do it. So
it really
don't forget
makes a difference
to check in with yourself and with your friends.
Period.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. So
let's unpack the art of inspiring others or getting inspired. Let's unpack that, because that's been a I guess a reoccurring theme that I've been seeing in my life lately, and I wanted your guys' opinions on it. The art of inspiring and the art of being inspired, and what that means to you.
that is a very good topic.
of inspiring and feeling inspired.
Absolutely, ma'am.
Absolutely.
I feel like I get inspired by the people around me, which is obviously you guys.
Ooh, okay. Love that. Thank you.
Which is obviously you guys and
Give me my flowers.
Gabby, Sydney, Evan. I actually saw a TikTok. We always reference TikToks, which is so funny.
Especially
But
you too.
Yeah.
I just saw a TikTok that was like,
Oh, talk about TikTok. Follow us right here.
116.
but anyways, I just saw a TikTok that said like pretty much what we've already said before, that like the more that you keep what you surround yourself with is like what you're gonna be. Like if you surround yourself with people that are like if you surround yourself with people that's like bad thing, or they don't want to do anything, and like they're just like they're okay with where they're at, then you're gonna be okay with where you're at.
Yeah.
But if you surround yourself with people that are like wanting to do better and be better, then you're gonna want to do better and be better. And that really had me thinking, because literally like in our previous episode, how you were saying that like you could see why I was struggling so much with my career is because Gabby and Sydney are doing like they're like wanting to do more and more with their career,
Leveling up, evolving.
leveling up and evolving. And it just makes me feel like I was stuck, because I'm like, I don't know what I want to do now. Like, do I want to go back to school? Like, do I want to do a different path, because all I've known is ICU? But then at the same time, like I like that, but it's burning me out. So like that is what inspires me, being around other people that are like same mindset like that. But also I know I am an inspiration to others.
And why do you think that?
Because
let's unpack that.
I feel like I am an inspiration to others, not to toot my own horn, but because I just feel like because I emit like the confidence, and I emit like that
the energy,
energy, and like Drake said in his concert, which I did attend it, so I can quote this.
Period.
Quote unquote.
He was like, it's all frequencies. We're all bouncing off of each other's frequency right now. Like you're here screaming at me, I'm here screaming at you, and the energy is so good in the room. And like his concert was literally, like you said, people are saying that his concert is like a gospel.
What is it? What he was like
a sermon,
like a sermon,
like church, like when they preach.
Literally the church preacher.
He literally would be like, I'm so thankful that you guys are all here, and he's just like saying like, you guys work so hard, like 1 hour of your day just to work and then one of my concert
Period.
tickets cost like blah blah blah, and he's like, and I'm just so thankful that you're here.
He
I'm
better
here.
know.
Yeah, and he's just like saying that
As
like
expensive as it is.
he was saying
But
that how
acknowledge.
like life is short, like love your loved ones and blah blah, and it was just so motivational to be there, and then also of course to listen to his music and see him perform live. But I was going on a tangent. I forgot what I was gonna start.
No, I mean,
but
you were feeling inspired by that. Too.
yes,
Like, it was just
and then so that's what I was saying.
You
I
inspire
feel like
others.
That's why or how I feel like I inspire others, because I feel like I emit that energy and I put that out. So then people could just feel it, you know?
Yeah, it's literally like you can read the room without like energy wise.
It's like this. When
It's a
you
feeling.
when you see someone walk in the room, you can tell how they feel, like either about themselves, or you can tell like, you know, because if a girl walks into the room and she's like walking up with her head high, like looking around, like
Yeah.
she's that girl.
Yep. Absolutely.
But if you see a girl walking in the room like with her head down, like touching her phone, like not wanting to look up, like she's not that girl.
you can tell a lot by body language.
Body language.
Also,
Nonverbal
too.
communication, which also that's a really good
Oh my
song by
God.
Metro Boomin.
Yes.
Actually, I forgot what it was that I was reading. No, I was in a class at work and we were doing a training about how to basically just training on how to de-escalate situations within the workday. And behind that, he was doing a little bit of a science, I guess you could say. And he said, communication is like 93% body language and 7% of what you
I
actually
think
say.
I seriously feel like I've heard of that before. Somewhere.
Yeah,
I've heard
that's
of that somewhere,
literally like most of it is your body language. So even if you don't speak the same language, you can just tell
shows.
It's called
communication,
charades, baby.
It's like communication is definitely based off of just body language and body movement. You know,
Yep, I 100% agree, because when, like, okay, I don't like that. So I agree, nonverbal communication is a real thing, because like at work, when you have patients that like intubated and they can't talk to you, like you could just be like, oh, what do you need, this, do you need that, and you
that's
could
a
just
great
talk to
example.
them with your
like
body
pointing
language in your
or
hand.
yeah.
I mean, it's so crazy because it's such an obvious, but we don't think about it until we think about it.
Yes.
That's crazy, especially in that case. Yeah, like literally patients, they can't verbally.
They literally can't
So then
talk,
you
so
have to
the-
like blink like
Yeah, so
or
she,
like
know?
just point or
I'll be
whatever.
like, does your bottom hurt? And then she'll be like, and then I have to figure that out.
Like, I have to figure out what
a
they're trying to
decipher.
say.
and,
Decipher,
and
yeah.
that patient didn't speak English too, so
Oh,
it's even worse.
especially.
And I'm like, oh god.
Oh my god.
I think body language is definitely one of the most underrated
Communication.
parts of communication that we don't talk about. That
really realize it,
it's
yeah.
it's because 7%, we're always focusing on the 7%. What is the person saying instead of how they're saying it?
Yes,
the way they're
yes.
delivering it, their tone, their energy when they say specific words. It's such an underrated statement that I feel like we put in the back of our minds as we're talking to people
Yeah.
and how they're receiving it. And that it's, I don't know, it makes me, I think you can tell a lot by a person the way they communicate with their body. Mm-hmm. And
Absolutely.
But to play devil's avocado here,
Yes.
Uh-oh.
Devil's avocado.
I feel like some people also, though, some people just don't
Are not
know.
good-
They
good communicators?
Like, no, some people, they just like have poor nonverbal communication, you know, like
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, so like to back up what I was saying, like I know like a couple people where like they're just literally like this the whole time, like monotone like this, but then they're talking. But that's
just how
the
they
way-
are.
That's just how they are.
Some
They
people
just
are.
don't really know how to communicate.
Well, some people, I feel like that's just maybe they grew up
Yeah.
like that, and
Yeah.
they don't know how to communicate other ways,
Absolutely.
which is fine. But it's like, you know, I think even then you could still tell that people are awkward because
Yeah.
the way they are moving their body when they talk, or the way they conversate is you could tell when people are socially
awkward. I guess.
awkward
And-
and
yeah.
And like you said, to play out devil's avocado, like it's not necessarily their fault because, like you said, some of them they grew up like that. And I know a lot of people, right? Like I mean, from my workplace or just like acquaintances that I've met, and I've seen like different types of people like that.
Yeah.
Like whenever Val was saying that, you know, when maybe if you see a girl or a guy walking in the room and they're just like head down on their phone because they're awkward. They like because they don't like
Yes.
the social. They don't like to be
Or
social.
they don't like the
or they're
eyes
introvert.
on-
Yes.
Introvert, you know, so it's
Yes,
like very
yes.
much like you really have to look at it on both sides. Like some
Yes.
people, maybe some people, and I know a lot of people, they just
Me-
they actually choose not to be social. You know?
Ab-
So like I said, I know some people that are actually like they choose not to be social, or they
Yeah.
choose not to like just like what's the word? I guess like
make eye contact
or whatever. And like I used to have a battle with this, right? Because I know someone very close to me, like they're not very much like that, right? So I'm like, it would kind of irritate me, and I'm like, whenever we would go out, I'd be like, okay, like in my mind, I'm not saying it out loud, I'm like, why are you on your phone? Like, we're supposed to be here socializing. But at the same time, I need to know and understand that person, maybe he's not comfortable with that, and he's never done that before, you know? So
period.
Yeah, I don't know. It's still like a battle to this day where I'm just like, okay, if that's the case, then why are you coming out? You know, like, but then at the same time, like, I appreciate you coming out and trying to, you know, try it out and like just
going out of your comfort zone.
Stepping out of your comfort zone, you know? So it's just like a little battle because I mean, and now that I'm older, I get it because I used to be the same way, you know, like I might not be like as social as everybody else whenever I'm in like a social event, but now that I'm older, I am more comfortable. I can actually, you know, socialize with like random strangers even, you know, and just like really make eye contact and, you know, like you said, body language shows a lot because I can tell you, me maybe like 5 years ago in socializing is way different than now with strangers, you know, because of my job too.
And like your experience of talking
a lot.
I think life experience definitely plays a huge role too.
And I feel like just the more you get older.
So yeah, I just like, I don't know. Yes, we use Devo's avocado a lot.
Yes.
So I really just try to, you know, see it from like everybody's, like why are they that way? You know what I mean? Like rather than like, I mean, and I know
rather than judging up
rather than just saying like,
oh my gosh,
oh, like that person is like not confident. Oh, like why is that person? You know what I'm saying? Like, but then again, I do feel the energy and like Val, I agree that whenever you see somebody walk in the room and they just know who they are, you can feel the vibe and the energy. Yes. Like for example, when we went to the fashion show.
Oh my god, I was gonna bring that up too.
The fashion.
Val, you missed it. Val,
I wish you could have.
I was at work wiping ass.
Wiping a tush.
Oh my gosh, it was because like even I'm not talking about the models, but I'm talking about the attendees. You know, like
just the energy in the room.
The attendees, like you can tell who, like the guy with the jacket, and he was like,
yes,
he did not. He went all the way to the front.
Yeah, so I actually he actually found me on Instagram. We've been friends for a little bit on Instagram because he found my TikTok. But his name's AJ.
Oh my gosh!
So shout out to AJ.
Phenomenal.
Loved your fit. I literally sent him the video that we took. We're like, yeah, you ate.
I was recording because like he was the type of guy that he came up like to the very front.
So Val, just imagine like an empty church, right?
Yeah.
And like the seating was on the church benches. He literally just came
to the very front
and just laid, and he was someone was taking pictures of him,
posing and doing his thing, and everybody could see it. And the spotlight was on him, and his fit was it was fitting. So we were like, I was like, okay, like he was getting it.
Like he's confident in who he is. He was
very confident. Like he doesn't care.
The thing about confidence is nobody knows it's real or not.
I remember you used to always
from Maddie from Euphoria.
If you can't. Wait, just fake it or something? What was it?
She said, "No one knows no one knows if it's fake or not.
Fucking fake or not." So
like no one really knows.
That's the thing about confidence. Nobody knows if it's real or not,
and it's true.
That is true. I mean, people are gonna look at you regardless. So why not be confident?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
absolutely agree. So
just don't think too much about it, I feel like.
So in terms of like inspired and getting inspired, how does that tie into it? Like for you, like the way you converse with people, and you know, you said like you talk to a lot of like random people more now than you have ever. Like how do you think that plays into it in terms of like, I don't know, communication, inspiration? How do you tie it all together?
I think in general of feeling inspired is if like kind of like, well, like pretty much like what Val and you said about surrounding yourself with people that have some type of like same end goal, you know, or like just some kind of like just having that drive for something. Like I'm very much for something in general, you know, that. Because I mean in my past I used to be surrounded by a lot of people that don't have anything going on for their lives. Like they're just content with what their everyday lives,
which is fine too.
Which is fine.
I mean, don't knock it. Yeah,
yeah. Like a lot of people, yes, and a lot of people are fine with that, and that's okay. But I've always felt like I've always wanted more with my life. Like even as a little girl, I've always had like big. What's the word? Is it aspirations? I was like aspirations. I always think of Beyonce whenever because she had a song where she was talking about aspirations.
When you say aspirations, I think of like asphyxiation, choking.
When you say aspirations, I think about ass, and then inspiration. She's thinking about anaphylaxis.
Are you thinking about?
You see how all three of our brains work?
Well, what do you think about?
I think about the word ass, and then I think about inspiration.
I think about asphyxiation, like choking someone.
I know. I can see where you're coming from, and I can also see where you're coming from.
Weird.
But yeah. So I feel like I've always wanted more. I just never really knew what it was, you know. But now that I'm older, like I mean, it obviously my career and like just like being around people that they agree with the same thing, you know, like as far as like being there for kids in general. Like when I go to trainings and I see like these panelists, like they talk about like what they've been through or whatever, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm so in tune with them. I'm like, I feel like it's only me and them in the room, and like nobody else is there, because I'm like taking down my notes, and I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, like that's so right, we got to do this and this and that. And then so far, like other than my career, there wasn't really anything else other than like I guess kind of like to be on a healthy diet and healthy lifestyle. So if I see people on TikTok and I'm like, okay, this is inspiring me, you know, to go to push myself, even though I have to be quite honest, I've been lacking in that for a while, but I mean I'm gonna get back into it. And then just recently we went to the fashion show. That was an inspiration to me, because I've always known that when I was younger, I've always loved fashion, right? Like whether if it's like street fashion or like just like what is it that show called, Miss Universe. My mom and I, we always watch Miss Universe, and I look at their outfits, gowns, gowns, all kinds. I've always known that I've always really been into that, but I feel like I've lost touch with that, you know, in the midst of growing up. But when I went to the fashion show with you, I felt like the fire sparking back up. I was like, oh my god, like this is so unique. It's just it's art. It's literally art.
It is art.
So ever since then, and then you tagged me in all of those like designers, I was like, I'm gonna follow, and I'm just now, that was very, very inspiring to me. Seeing people put stuff together and just using their creativity. I'm like, this is it. This is like, I really want to get back into like my fashion sense and self. So
and it makes me think of like also like origin of like the fashion designers or just creatives in general, right? Like even us. I feel like we in order to get inspired, you need to really not do anything. I think that's so important. Or I think it's, instead of focusing on, what should we be doing, like for example a podcast like today, we didn't really have a topic to talk about,
and now we're just
to be honest.
I feel like when you do that, you kind of like cap your imagination, or you cap what
you're putting a measurable amount of success on your creativity. I feel like when you do that versus just going with the flow and honestly just
blindsided.
And just allowing yourself to create and flow, you know. And honestly, just like the podcast, like I love doing the podcast, and like it inspires me like every time we have a conversation, because when we talk on the podcast, it's literally like our deep talks of just unpacking.
It's very therapeutic.
Literally,
it's just unpacking and talking about things that we from a different angle, you know. And so I think also being the inspired people for other people, like being the inspiration for others to start a podcast or to be confident in themselves, which I think I know a lot of people have said, you know, we've helped them with self-love and things like that. And I think just the art of being able to do that, in turn they inspire us. It's like a cycle.
It is.
That's what I'm saying. Like Drake says, it's like it's
frequency,
we're feeding back off of each other.
That's what it is. And I think that's such a beautiful thing, because if you think about artists and musicians, right? They always take breaks after they make albums, because they need that time to soak up the energy around them, to go vacation, to whether, reduce, you know, like, you know, taking walks, you know, just something to spark that, you know, letting your juices flow and just creating,
and or letting like a creative wave coming into them, so that way they can, you just gotta.
I kind of want to like touch on something that when Sadie was talking, she was saying like how when she goes on TikTok, she gets motivated and inspired by stuff like that. And also that is one thing for me too that plays a heavy role in my life, like, is social media, because I am on it a lot. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm on it a lot, but not as much as I used to be, but I am on it a lot. So like, I think controlling what you see on social media,
what you consume,
is also like a really big thing, because if I'm gonna keep looking, like if I'm gonna be on there, I want to look at motivational and positive things. So like I have been like decluttering my following, like just following like people that are like on the same energy as me, like girls, you know, fitness girls, like girls who like I'm always on like other girls posts like, yes girl, like you killed that, slay, and then they'll be like in tune, like coming back and doing that to my post, and it's just like that is the energy that I want. And like what you allow yourself to consume is like your responsibility and your choice.
Yes, I think that's so important, especially in this day and age of social media, because I did make a responsible decision and do that too a while back. I would say like mid 2023, because you do want to look at like trash social media, like, you know, like gossip and, you know, like just like random stuff that
like negative.
It's just like you're just scrolling aimlessly. And it's like, if I'm on there, I want to make sure that I'm looking at stuff that is impactful. But yeah, I think just being responsible in what you're consuming, like it really plays a huge part in how, because someone said we're all water, basically. We're made out of 70% water.
70.
So everything that we do, it's literally, we consume it and then it's like going through us like water. So we have to be careful about what we consume, who we consume it from, and how we consume it. It's like, you just be conscious about what you're watching and make sure that it aligns with you know where you want to be at in the future.
Because I heard that if you're watching something that's like more negative, it can get very addicting, right? And
Dude,
you can fall
it
into
does.
a hole where you're like, oh crap,
Yes.
and now you have a whole bunch of negative stuff on your mind.
Yes.
And then of course it's gonna affect you.
Or even like TikTok, now it's like a whole bunch of those on your For You page, and it's like you can't get away from it. It's literally like a disease. It spreads.
You know, it's so crazy because speaking of like negative and in the world in general, I was just had this conversation with my lash lady Daisy yesterday.
We were talking about that. Your lashes look so good.
Thanks Daisy. Hey,
shout out Daisy. We all have been to her before.
Book with her. She is amazing. I love her. She's
a
so
local
sweet.
SD.
Yes, we will tag her. Anyway, we were talking. She was listening to a podcast, right? And it was like a true crime podcast thing. And I was like, "Are you listening to some like murder mystery?" She said, "Yeah, because my client was listening to it." And I'm like, "Let me tell you something." I mentioned you too. I'm like, Sutana and Valerie, one time when we went to Colorado, I've never really been into that type of shit, right? But then Sutana told me that whenever she's driving, she likes to listen to it because it keeps her up, because it's interesting. So I gave it a try whenever we went to Colorado, and I'm telling you, I was awake the whole time because I was like in tune with the stories. It was creepy, but I mean, it kept me up. And then I told her that, but I wouldn't listen to it if I'm just at home, because it would creep me out. And I don't like negative, like I just don't like anything, like if the dirty and the
like
ugly
bad energy
bad,
is how I describe those, like like bad energy.
Yes, but then I told her that I used to be very much like growing up. I used to be very much like, I just want the flowers and rainbows and beautiful stuff in life, right? I know there's ugly stuff too, but I don't want to. I'm just not going to touch on it because I don't want it to affect me. But now that I'm older, I'm like, wait. And that podcast kind of showed me a way where I'm like, I need to open my life up to the uglies and the bad too, because just to be aware in general, you know, because if you don't, like life, that's not realistic, because life in general is not always rainbows and butterflies, right? And even in the teaching career too, where I work now, I was telling her about like a situation. I'm like, before I went into my teaching career, I always thought about, oh, the beautiful kids, the cute, like, you know, rainbows and colors and painting. But I mean, so whenever that hit me, I was like, oh gosh. And then my principal was like, yeah, Sadie, this is not going to be your first time experiencing something like this in the teaching career. And I'm like, oh, and then I'm like, oh gosh. So it's just like an eye opener to like just real life in general, that, you know, you can't just really, really try to focus on the beautiful and positive all the time. Like, yes, it's good, but you have to balance it out in a way, because if you always focus on like the beautiful stuff, once the ugly shit hits you, you're gonna be like, you're not gonna know.
It's like the reality checks.
Yes, literally reality
when
check.
you least expect it. And
When
it's
you
like,
least expect
okay, life is going great, and Tanya is like, boom,
and then you're like, wait, where did this come from? I don't know what this is. You know what I mean?
You don't know how to react.
You don't know how to react, or you don't know how to handle it.
Yep.
So I think it's like, yes, try to stay positive all the time, but then at the same time, if you do ever go through something that's really bad or negative, like, just don't, like what we always say, this, don't dwell in it, don't stay in it, like take it in a little bit and process it, and then just try to push yourself back out. You know what I mean?
And I think that goes back to like the communication aspect of what we talked about earlier, because it's like, allow yourself to know what it is, but then also like communicate that within your own body, right? Like be the water, like let it flow through you, and just be conscious of how you're communicating that out in order to process with yourself, because I feel like communicating with yourself is the hardest when you go through situations like that, because it's literally you against you, and it's like,
it's kind of like when you mentioned the whole like your body language thing, it's like, it's so true, because sometimes you might be answering something but your body kind of shows the opposite, you know? So it's like, if people really know how to read you, they're like, oh, she didn't mean that thing, you know?
It's like they won't say it, but it's gonna be like,
Yeah. And then that's their body language saying that, yeah, I know you didn't mean that.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy to really think about it and to really analyze it from that point of view. But
like going back to the inspiration part, like I think that especially when I talk to people that I'm inspired by in real life, and it's like, you know, you're just trying to, you have this perception, right, of how when you look up to someone or you're inspired by someone, you have a perception of how they are and who they are and how they portray themselves, right? And so I think when you have conversations with those people, it's like, well, you're like talking to them because you're inspired by them, but then sometimes when they communicate with their body language, you're like, oh, that's totally not what I was expecting,
or like that's not how you've been portraying yourself.
And I think that makes it like, also when you're trying to make new friends, like it's kind of difficult because you're putting yourself out there and you're communicating, and like
you would expect the same back,
exactly,
right?
So then the energy levels, it's like, you know, you hope that you're somewhat on the same wavelength, or that you catch the same energy vibe. Like the girl Tara that I met on TikTok, like she's literally so funny, and it's just like
talking to the girl that we met at the fashion show.
Yeah,
she's gorgeous.
So it's just like people like that it's just, you know, I want to be around people that I get inspired by, and I want to be around people that, you know, inspire me, and that I can inspire them back, like giving that repetitious cycle, because only then will you be able to, I think, in my brain, like be able to level up and get the things you're manifesting, because it's like it's kind of like a tic-tac-toe thing, like, you know, it's just back and forth like magnets, you know, and it's like you don't have to use a lot of energy, it's just letting it flow naturally like water.
Like it should just come easy.
Yes, like you're not forcing it, you know.
What did you mention about how you feel like you could inspire people already? I think Valerie's mentioned, but have you? I don't have it either. But,
no, I mean, I think for me, I just wanted to talk about it because I feel like our podcast, like a lot of people have been reaching out to me and asking me, like, you know, how they can level up their podcast, or, you know, like how did we get to where we are, like us three in the podcast in general. And I feel like I say the same thing every time, you know, it's like you just have to keep doing it and be authentically yourselves. Like I think we can all three agree that we've just been 100% ourselves every time we hit record, no matter if we have the best equipment, no matter if we have the, you know, like crappy lighting, like, you know, we try our best and we're authentically ourselves. And at the end of the day, that's all you have to be in order to be an inspiration. Just be yourself. Like you cannot duplicate confidence, like what Val said. You can't, it's not something that people know if it's real or not. You just have to put yourself out there and be okay with putting yourself out there.
Authenticity is what will inspire people, like you said, exactly. Because if people are putting up like a facade, or they're just trying to like, oh, you know, fake something all the time, and then like you said, whenever they actually meet in person, you're kind of like different, and they're like, oh wait, so I've been believing something that was not even real the whole time.
It's a fraud. It's a
fraud. You know what I'm saying? But so it's kind of like, if you're your most authentic self, then people will literally bounce off of that if they feel like they want to be authentic as well. Just like the podcast, like you said, ever since day one, since we started, we've literally just been speaking our mind. Like we have,
and I feel like, why would you want to put up a facade?
It's tiring.
Well, actors and actresses, and you know, just people that want to put
people that do it for a living.
Literally, people that do it for a living. PR stunts, you know, and people that does that. But
I like, our podcast is like our baby, and you know, we will always continue to be better. We will try our best to evolve, and just being I don't want to make it sound like we're conceited, because I don't
is think it conceitedness or is it confidence?
It's just like I know the power. No, I'm just kidding. Like I know, like
the impact.
The impact. Yes,
it's the impact, and it's like,
because we've seen it.
We have seen the impact. Like, I'm telling you guys, like I'm telling you, like seeing other people, especially women in our community, doing more podcasts now, and like being more inspired to just put their voices out there. It's just like, damn. Like I don't know if we did that directly, but it's like, we're part of the movement.
We play some part in
and it's just really cool to see that come to fruition. And you know, I hope
I could never say that word.
Fruition.
What is it?
Fruition.
Fruition.
Fruition. What is that?
Like fruition. Make it come to life.
Fruition.
Fruition. It's fruition.
I always say fruition.
Fruition. English teacher, please.
Is that a noun? So part of speech is a noun.
It's not a person, place, or thing.
Yeah.
And it's an idea, though.
Verb. It's what you do.
But fruition, to come to life?
Yeah, it's a noun, I think. Right?
Well,
is a noun a person, place, or thing?
Because a verb, but then
idea.
Or an idea. It can
person,
be an idea
place,
as well.
or thing.
So, for example, if I'm saying like a thought. Oh, my thought. The word thought is a noun because it's an idea.
I only remember verb from the commercial. Verb, it's what you do.
Action was.
So also it's Oliver. But anyways, I want to talk real quick about also, since we're on this topic of like inspiration and communication and all this stuff, and like run it back to the fashion show. Like, I think it's important if you are trying to expand your knowledge as an individual or human being and just want to grow as a person. I think it's so vital for you to have a diverse group of people that you surround yourself with. 100%. We're talking about like, people that we surround yourself with. Well, who is that? How does that look like?
And do you mean diverse as in like even diverse like what they do in general?
Yeah, in general, like, whether it could be different people of color, different people that are in different career paths.
Absolutely.
I just think it's so important to have that, because you cannot possibly want to grow as a human with staying around people that, we're talking about the people that, will help us grow and stuff like that. But how does that look like? For me, I don't know about you guys, but for me, it's being just open to the idea of anyone and everyone, no matter how scary that sounds.
Yeah.
And also with the idea of like, obviously making friends as an adult is hard. Yes. It's just, I think being open to the idea of meeting anyone and everyone and accepting them as they are has helped me. And just being like, okay, well, even if we're not friends long term, like I have opened my portal, and just allowing that energy in. Like, I think that's very important. And the fashion show is one of them. Like, all those cool people. If I would have not followed that dude on Instagram,
yes, you would have.
I would have never seen all these beautiful people that have all these like great imagination and great creativity. And it's just like, I don't know, y'all know I'm a creative, and it's just like being around that is just like, it gets me inspired, and it's just like,
so
that's so important.
I want to just quickly throw it in there about the fashion show too, sorry, because I'm feeling inspired. I knew I felt inspired. You know why? Because man, watching those models walk and looking at their outfits, I literally like was almost teary-eyed, because I was like, it was so beautiful to the point where it almost brought me to tears. I was like, yes, like I was like shook in like in a good way. Like I was like, oh my god, like
even I don't know about you, but even the music, Val, the music in the video I sent you, top tier. I was like the
music really like was like an extra to that, because like whenever I feel very, very inspired, like I feel so hard, like, and then I to the point where I'm almost like vulnerable, because I'm like it touched me so deep, like it just anything, honestly, that's
what she said.
Inspired.
No, that's a feeling vulnerable, because this is going to be very off topic and tangent. But I was watching a video of kids, like when it's been a thing lately where it's like kids when they spot their parents in the crowd.
Oh yeah, I love that.
I don't know if you guys got that feeling when you were younger, but it's like the feeling when you see them in the crowd.
Yeah.
When you see your parents in the crowd and you start to get hot.
Yeah.
And teary-eyed. I think that's that vulnerable feeling.
It is.
Because
you
you're
feel it like from the inside. You're like,
it's hitting your emotions.
It's a nerve. It's hitting a nerve in there that's like, oh, like, it's
coming out. Because I saw that video and it just made me think like,
I watched those a lot.
Damn, I remember feeling like that when I was younger. And I'm like, I feel like when you're in adulthood, when you get to that point, like the fashion show, and you get that feeling, that's like literally you're allowing the vulnerable, like the vulnerable you to be exposed, because you're literally just soaking in all that energy and all like everything that's happening around you, that it's literally making you feel like, damn.
Can you give an example when you guys felt like that? Because like I said, that's like that
like in adulthood,
in adulthood now, like where you felt like you were, like you feel so touched and you're like, oh, like you're about to like about to cry, and you just feel like, I don't know, like butterflies almost, but it's a good butterfly. It's like times 10, like not in a way where you're like when you first meet your crush or you're first hanging out with your man or whatever, or your partner, but it's just something that you see and you watch and you're like, oh my god, like this makes me feel like some type of way, in a good way,
like breathless almost literally, because that's how I felt when I watched those models in those clothes. Like I was like, oh my god, that was so beautiful.
I
don't know, that's a really good question, like experience wise.
And also watching a movie doesn't count. So
okay, I think experience wise, I would say like in adulthood, the first time I felt like that in adulthood would probably be when I was in my EDC phase.
Okay.
And I literally like went into EDC and like you walk down, because what it is it's like a big racetrack, and so
yeah, that's for me too.
So you walk down and it literally, I'm telling you, if you ever go, it'll like literally make you feel breathless, because it's like a whole, it's like you enter into a whole nother dimension.
It's like whenever you go into a stadium and whenever you go to a concert and you walk to your section and
it's like unreal,
and then it's like the whole
like
concert
opens up.
yeah, it's like that. But then there's like, as soon as you walk in, it's lights everywhere.
The
like
lights are
big,
pretty.
beautiful lights.
I would say that's the first time, because it's like in that moment it's like you're literally breathless.
Yeah,
you're literally like,
yeah,
this is unreal. Like I cannot believe it's happening.
That for me too, because one word I always use to describe EDC is like it's indescribable, because like you just have to be there.
Yeah, I would say that's one, like in adulthood, like literally 18 adulthood, like that was my first experience. Like
you feel like
like damn, this is so beautiful. I literally just want to cry. It's crazy.
Those are like the best feelings, and they don't come
cry.
They don't come a whole lot, you know, which I think it's good, as they shouldn't, because if that happens too much, then it's not as meaningful anymore.
That's true.
You know, so
can I throw another one in there that I
Yes.
just thought of? I would say another one I thought of was being part of a big project at work, just being a representation of the Asian community. I think that was really cool, and it made me feel like that in that moment. Like, you know, we had to take pictures and stuff, and I'm just
And
like,
you're like, I'm here.
like it's unreal. Like you can't believe it, and it's
crazy.
like it's that feeling again when you're a child, and it's like it's so vulnerable that makes you want to tear up, because you're like happy, proud, and like can't believe it all at the same time.
It's overwhelming.
It's overwhelming. So then you're just like, you know, I literally felt like I was getting hot.
Yeah.
I was like tearing up, and I was like, man, I'm so happy right now. Like I just feel, I don't know if there's a word to describe that feeling.
I think there is.
There has to be a word to describe that, because that's literally the feeling that is, like you say, it doesn't come often, but when it does, it's so special.
It's so special.
And it literally just makes you want to like, it makes you so appreciative in the moment and so thankful. And I don't know. Yeah. That, I mean, being an adult, those really do come not as often.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't think of one other than the EDC, like, because I know that I know
that feeling I'm talking about. Yeah,
because that feeling when I walked into the motorway, like I know that feeling, and I don't know. I don't think I
like anything else at least.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I get like teary-eyed when I talk to my patients' family members, but that's not the same feeling though.
It's like experience,
like more like an experience. Like I said, even whenever I go to like my professional development, and if like their speaker is saying something that just speaks volume to me, it hits me in the nerve too. I'm like,
you're like you said, they're talking directly to you.
What is it called? Sermon? And like I don't go to church and stuff like that, but I would imagine that's probably how they feel.
Preaching.
You know? Yeah, they were literally preaching, because I was like, yes, ma'am, yes, like you, like you're just now you're talking back to them, because you're like, you felt like they're actually talking to you.
Yeah,
that's how I feel. Like, so that's also another like one of those type of moments. Like it's not maybe as much as that part whenever I was at the fashion show, but I still have a little bit of that feeling. Like yes, like just like it hits your heartstrings.
You're just like,
in a good
oh my
way.
God, yeah,
like in a good way.
They're doing it.
I know one. I would say whenever I had to MC for the event.
The little monument thing.
Which Valerie will again be doing this year.
You did it again?
Yes.
So I'm part of the planning committee this
you're
year.
planning.
Yep.
Okay,
and so I'm working with them to help create the event. And she's like, "Can you see if Valerie will do it again?" I'm like, "Oh, absolutely."
I was like that one, because that was
for sure.
That was like literally something I've never done before. And then like
She
Sadie
literally
came,
stepped out of her comfort zone.
Sadie came and was like there for me.
I was like right there the whole time, like
the whole time,
like,
and
go on
like
to the next
literally, I was just talking to a bunch of random people, and it was my first time ever doing anything like that. And then
she killed it.
Yeah, I would say that was a pretty same feeling, but
Like,
and it was nice because your friend, the newscast lady, her boyfriend was the DJ, and he knew that I was nervous, so like he helped me, like gave me some tips, and like he helped me ease into it. And he was helping me like MC also, because he had a mic.
Didn't he have a mic too? Yeah.
So that was.
Did you feel like right before you got on like just to start talking? Did you feel like your heart, like it's like you're like it's thumping, you're like about to? I know that's not.
And it's just because it's like I know that it's scary, but I know that like if I go up there scared, people can tell that I'm scared.
They can see.
Again, the communication.
So I literally had to just go up there and pretend that knew what I was doing, which I didn't, and I didn't even know. I don't know if people knew that was my first time or not, which I don't think they did. But yeah, I would say that was another moment.
I feel like whenever as you keep going though, then you got more comfortable. You know, like that's really like you said. You just have to believe it, and then as you keep going, and then it starts coming out more naturally. Because then after, like by the end of it, you're just like, okay, guys, like you were like, it was like you were on it. You know, so it was really,
just like our podcast.
Yes.
You just have to, and again, like. Fake it till you make it.
You literally go with it.
And like honestly, I am so excited for this year's. If you are in the Tulsa area, there is an Asian AAPI night market happening in May during Asian American Heritage Month, and Valerie will be the host MC once again. So stay tuned on our Facebook page, and we'll be sharing more information about that.
Is it like vendors and all that stuff?
Yep, vendors. They have performances. Yep, everything like that. It's gonna be amazing.
Really good.
I know. Like I was so sad I couldn't be there last year because
were you gone? Yeah,
funeral.
You went out of town. Yeah,
it was the funeral. But I know you did great.
It was really good. So
any recap?
A recap. Well, just in general to you listeners out there, if you ever feel like you kind of like what Valerie said earlier, don't cap yourself. Like you know what I mean? Like just really try to explore out there, and like you said, Satana, try to surround yourself with different types of people, like diversity, and because you never know, you might find something else that you might truly enjoy.
Because if you keep surrounding yourself around the same thing, all you're gonna see is the same thing, and all you're gonna know is the same thing.
And granted, some people are okay with that. You know, I think
and
it's
that's fine.
But for those that want to grow,
because if you deep down inside you're like me, and you know that you feel have the need to like do more,
like just know more. I can be more than this.
I feel like I'm
missing something.
I'm missing something. Like I know that I'm just more than what I am right now.
Yeah.
Like I deserve to be on a beach in a foreign country
doing something other than a 9 to 5. You know, for example,
just that feeling of like I know that I have more. There's more to this. There's more to life, my life than this.
And like granted, I said, even if you don't want to do something new, at least just to get the knowledge of it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't hurt to just get more knowledge of something else. You know, you might find yourself, very interested in it, like I did. Yeah,
I love that. Valerie, any last remarks?
I would just say the same thing. Like, don't cap yourself on your life or imagination or whatever, because when you put a cap on it, baby, you put a cap on it, and that's on you.
Yep, donezo.
That's on you. Nobody to blame, but you.
Absolutely.
But you can always uncap it and loosen the cap.
Period.
No cap.
It don't have to be so tight. No cap. You can have it on loosely if you're afraid. But
shake that bottle up, make it pop. Look at us using our freaking like
adverbs.
Analogy.
I'm bad with language
grammar.
Yeah,
but no, I would just say that and
get inspired. Feel inspired.
Yeah. Life is literally too freaking short. Like, and you don't know if you're gonna be here tomorrow.
It's yours to make.
Might as well. Or as my mother would say,
might as well. Is that what your mom says?
You know, it's supposed to be might as well, but my mom says might as.
Like just stop.
She just say might as.
When I was little, we used to say it. We used to think it's minus, like minus well, minus like
the minus sign, like subtraction.
Minus, minus well. But then I was like, I'm like, oh, it's not minus, it's might as well.
Yeah, that's so funny.
Sutiana, any last remarks?
Yeah, thank you so much for the question. So my last remarks, I think is I have like two. The first one would be just try it. If it's something you want to do, just go for it. You only fail when you stop. That's literally been a recurring thing I keep saying. You only fail when you stop.
Yeah. And if you stop now, or well, girl,
I know what you're trying to say.
Something to reference.
That if you would have started now.
I'll come back to you. Okay, ready? So keep this part in. To reference that, in the words of Michael Scott, the only shots you miss are the ones that you don't take at all.
Oh, period. True.
Okay, what mine was trying to say is when I went to my burn boot camp the other day, every time I leave, they have.
There's a story, y'all. Hold on.
Every time they always have something motivational written on the board.
Love that.
And on the board, it said that like, if you stop now, like, and if you start again 2 days later, like, you would have been already like ahead
by 2 days.
By 2 days. So like, don't stop.
Yeah,
that's what I was trying to
so
get at.
I love that.
Because
I love that though.
Just so cute because Brian used to do that all the time in his room. Like every single day, he would do like a little motivational quote on his board.
I love that.
I know. Okay, sorry. What was the second one?
What was it? Did I finish my first one?
Yes, don't stop.
Don't stop. Or yeah.
Yeah, so that was my first one. My second one is let your guard down sometimes. You never know.
Hell
you
no.
never.
I keep my shit up.
Okay, I'm not talking about like. Okay, but be obviously smart with how you're letting your guard. By letting your guard down, I mean let your guard down if you want to invite new energy into your space and surround that diversity of people and allow blessings.
Don't be scared to try it. You know,
Yeah.
what's the worst that can happen? It doesn't work out. Move on.
Yeah. So allow yourself to be inspired and allow yourself to be in an inspiration. You see how it all ties? Period.
With that being said,
we are now closing
this episode.
Yes.
It's coming to an end.
Thank you guys so much for listening.
So much.
I
thought we were just gonna do it without saying it. This is just like trying to do it without doing it already.
Okay. As always, we upload every Monday at 7 p.m.
7
Central Standard Time, and you can find us at 116th Hotline on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcast. Make sure you're liking our page on YouTube, subscribing to us, commenting. It really, really helps us. And you can also rate our podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. It really helps push us out to others who share the same interests just like you. So we appreciate you for doing that. And we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.